Hello and welcome to the third episode of Kosovo Erasmus Podcast, Connecting Europe. Coming to you from Faculty of Education, University of Pristina, beneficiaries of CBHE project funded by European Commission through Erasmus Plus program. Today, in general, we do these podcasts with the aim of promoting the program, promoting alumni testimonials, and disseminating the results of the project. But today we have a special guest here with us. It is a pleasure to welcome...
Pleasure mine.
Yes, Silvana Verdiani, Policy Officer from EACEA, or the Executive Agency, European Education and Culture Executive Agency, which manages the projects in education, sport, culture, audiovisual. It is a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure mine.
And it is great because you are this week visiting Kosovo for the first time.
Yes,
and
very pleased.
In your monitoring mission to see the progress, to see the implementation of the projects in capacity building in higher education in Kosovo. I'm very happy that they're numerous.
There are a lot, really.
Yes.
I have a hard time, I have to say, to follow all those projects and the rhythm.
So. It's true. It is a lot, but I'm very happy. We always strive to promote the program, so we have more and more funding coming to Kosovo. So if I can just say a few statistics, maybe from 2022 until 2025, we have 52 projects only in one call, so only in capacity building in higher education. I must say this is quite a milestone for such a small country.
Yes, definitely.
So I'm very happy about it. And with this, I think approximately 8 million euros during this time has entered Kosovo and our higher education system.
With partners or coordinators of projects,
yes. And this year, 2025, was the most successful year because we have 15 projects in this call and 5 coordinating or leading institutions from Kosovo. This is definitely an achievement.
This is an amazing achievement, definitely, yes.
So since the calls are open for 2026...
Well, not yet open.
Yes, but
well, the program will have been published,
yes. The program guide is out there. The calls very soon, very, very soon. So
beginning of December.
Beginning
will be
of
published,
December, yes. So we will use this episode to prepare maybe those interested institutions who perhaps are for the first time want to try their luck in CBHE program, or they're already beneficiaries but have some new ideas. Maybe we introduce them and we lure them into the program as well.
Why not?
So I would like to perhaps start this program first with the first question to tell us a bit about yourself and your background, and then we go into the first question.
Thank you, Mimika. Well, my background is quite different than others. I have been studying political science in Italy. I'm half Italian, half Belgian. I've lived in Italy, but all around the world also, and in Belgium. I've worked for humanitarian aid for about 10 years, working for NGOs, but also for European Commission Humanitarian Aid Office. Then I've worked for the past 15 years in the Creative Europe program culture unit in the agency, and moved just a year and a half ago here at Erasmus Plus. Very happy to be at Erasmus Plus because education is really one of the core mandate of the agency, and also I think of this unity in Europe. Kids are really the future, so I'm very happy to deal now with helping kids and young and students to grow and to reach a professional life as easier as it's possible in this modern world.
So Silvana, in your extensive experience with the project, what would you think for institutions preparing now a CBHE proposal? What would be the sort of the core eligibility and award criteria that applicants must absolutely get right from the start?
Let's say that obviously building and preparing a CBHE project is really really complex. To get the core eligibility and award criteria right as from the beginning is really crucial. So I would say that we have developed in the agency the call in a very transparent way. You will find, applicants will find information needed in the call, as we want to give every institution identical information and same level of details and specification. So the idea here is asking to applicants to stick to what they find in the call, to read the call, to read the application document. You have amazing information inside, but you have to read them, to digest them and to understand them, and taking into consideration also the priorities of the program guide that just was issued a week ago. As you know, the program establishes a series of priorities, but each region, like Western Balkan, and in some cases also some countries, have specific priorities. So read carefully the country region strategic paper to which the program guide is referring. So I will not go through the program guide, but I can give some hints, because what I think is that really a careful and appropriate planning is the key element for a good CBHE project. Starts with a need assessment, a need analysis and identification. So before writing your priorities or objectives, deeply map the need of the institutions, of the higher education institute in the country. Base your strategy on that, not on previous ideas. Or you can start with an idea, then you go to check what are the need analysis, and then you build your project. So not starting only by building your project. Build a balance and committed consortium. The quality and diverse consortium is really an asset. Make sure that partners are somehow complementary with a complementary expertise, so that bring different things to your project. And for example, higher education institutions for third countries are genuinely engaged, so be really careful on that. And somehow be creative. Try to find innovative partnership. Don't stay to the classical partnership. So involve bring in the picture relevant stakeholders. I would say again, align to EU and global strategies to the region. Link the proposal to the broader priorities. But so linked the proposal to the specific priorities, but don't forget the broader priorities. And obviously plan for sustainability from the day one. Think how your activities will continue after the grant ended, because this is another key issue. How will you give perenization to your deliverables, to what you have achieved with the project? We don't want to fund projects that are per se having deliverables that will remain letters, and without any future. Then obviously design a very strong and management structures, so with the clear roles, responsibilities, with a risk plan, and then the communication protocols, how partners will communicate within themselves. And today was a very good example. We had a visit, we have many visits in my mission, but today was a very good visit because we understood that communication, planning of the communication and synergy between organizations and projects is really a key successful plan. And then prepare obviously a robust dissemination plan, but we will talk about that later.
No, definitely. And we try this to convey to the info sessions that we hold. Definitely priorities is a strong point there.
Yes.
Sometimes this can be overlooked, but it's very important.
Yes.
The general priorities in this 7-year Erasmus program are well known, I suppose. Green, digital transition, inclusion, and democratization, sustainability, and growth. For Western Balkans, we have the economic and growth plan, which is very important, I think, for our partners, both in Kosovo and Western Balkans, to read this document, to sort of see
really reading and be aware about all the documents that are linked or referred to in the program guide is really a key.
Yes, and if they refer to vocational education training, then Torino process all the documents that stem from education and training, ETF.
This is why I'm
European
saying that
Training
it's
Foundation,
complex
yes.
and long.
Yes.
So I know that people would like to have just boxes to the
Yes.
ticket, but especially during this mission, I realized that it's long and complex because the results are complex and
Yes.
are complete and complex. So I think that it is worth to take time to
Yes.
write a good proposal.
So it's a lengthy process, but very rewarding at the end, as we've seen from your visits here this week. So from your long experience in evaluating these projects, I think our listeners would like to know what really distinguishes a strong, high-quality CBHE project design from a weak one, especially in terms of relevance, innovation, and impact. Can you really know if that project, if it's in the paper, how can you have that feeling that it's going to really be
If I can clarify just a thing, I'm not evaluating projects, so we are monitoring projects, but the projects and the application then are evaluated by experts coming from all around the world that we bring them together in order to evaluate applications. Each application is evaluated twice by two different experts, and then they come together to decide and to discuss about this evaluation, to give the final votes, final rates, and final comments. So I'm not evaluating projects, but monitoring them. I think that they are using a wide criteria again that are very transparent and clearly explained and detailed in the call document by the program guide. Also explained by the NEOs when they are doing their communication activities. So I think that I cannot be creative on that. A strong project is definitely a project that is following what the application text is asking, the call is asking, the program guide is detailing. And so in general, I think that a good preparation, a perfect understanding of the call mechanism, of the priorities stated in the program guide for the region, but also a global planning and also a global view with the shared responsibilities. So applicants have all they need in their hands because we have worked a lot in the development of these tools to prepare. So I cannot generalize. I cannot say this is a good program or good project. The good project will be the ones who are really replying to what we are asking in the call document and in the application at the application stage. It is complex, as we said.
Yeah, it's true. And you could see, I think, from these visits that I've accompanied you, and in general, when I meet higher education institutions in their activity, I could see that sometimes they also overperform because during the implementation stage, they see maybe what they need to adjust for the... So
as you said,
it goes beyond sometimes what they write in the implementation.
As I said to some of your partners, it's true that we have a grant agreement, we have a commented grant agreement that is online, but we are somehow quite flexible because we understand that applicants have written an application and after 2 or 3 years, they are still implementing it, and it's the global situation have been changed. So it's true that they can decide that it is better to adapt. So we are not so strict or so rigid. There is a certain flexibility, and so we encourage our partners, because we are partners in projects, and somehow it's a real partnership. We are also partners. To readapt if there is a need during the implementation of the project.
Yes, no, this is very important point, I think, and thank you for clarifying this during the visits and now, because this is very important.
This is why each project have a project officer. In Brussels, where I sit, we have different project officers that are dealing with the management of each of the contracts.
So you mentioned sustainability. That is a major focus, I think, in CBHE, and it should be. We don't want these projects just to be another project, you know.
A lettera morta.
Exactly, staying in the drawers and then never really showing a real impact. So what would be the concrete elements that EACEA expects to see in an application to demonstrate long-term sustainability?
Let's say, again, sorry to repeat that, but we are very transparent. We want to give to everybody the same type of information, and everything is publicly available. So I'm sure that everything can be found in the text. We also have this net of NEOs that are assisting applicants to write their application. And if I can give some advice to applicants on sustainability, I would say that in your application narrative, explain how each of the results, of the major results obviously, will survive after the EU funding. So build up a culture of within your partnership to think about that. Make concrete plan on how in the long term the sustainability will be done at all level, but by all partners. So I know that sometimes you have communication and sustainability by entitled to one or the other partner, but it really needs to be something that in written, in the narrative, it's very clear that everybody would play a role in the sustainability of the achievement of the project. Then use realistic assumption, be clear on, for example, your estimation on staff time and continued activity, equipment. So give a sense of sustainability also to this aspect of the application. Secure institutional buy-in early, so get formal commitment during the proposal stage development. Don't wait once you have signed an agreement to involve your partners. Don't send them an application. Say, okay, we are planning to do that. Do you agree? No. You really need to show in your narrative that each higher education institution is seriously involved and have an ownership. So this is also a key for the sustainability. Build a monitoring framework around the sustainability. So as soon as you plan an activity, plan also how this activity or think about how this activity will be sustainable. Also for data collection, because you will need to report on how this activity is sustainable. And also think about the synergy. I think that here in Kosovo you don't have this problem because I saw so much synergy and many synergy around all projects. But the outputs need really to be interlinked between the project, but also between other funded initiatives on national programs or private sector support, and also how does the private sector can support or continue supporting something if they are partner of a project and they don't disappear. Once the project is finished, can you continue to have this type of partnership with the private sector? Sometimes it's challenging, but I think that it's really something that if you plan it in the narrative as from the beginning, it will give you rise more points.
My next question, I think we touched it just a bit, but I think it's very important on the partnerships. So especially for newcomers in Erasmus projects, they're not used to applying alone as an institution. So Erasmus projects are sort of unique in that case because they require a consortium of partners, and obviously this can lead to good communication or cooperation and excel, or it can be disastrous.
That's where in all the project managed by the Commission and by the agency anyway, this is the core, is having a cooperation between different type of partners, and this is where the majority of the problems arise, definitely.
Yes. And we had even an applicant who said, we took him as testimonial for others, and he said, I would advise everyone to be as serious as when they look for a life partner.
Yeah.
So because they can make or break.
It's a bit ambitious, but okay. Yes, I understand. Yeah,
you know, just
definitely.
wanted to sort of convey how important it is to really look for serious partners.
Yes. So
in this case, would you say how to look for in terms of consortium composition? What's important in cooperation mechanisms?
Yes,
from your experience?
We are suggesting some measures at application stage in the core document, but I would say that with my experience, really I think that some tips can save somehow the problem. For example, during planning and first brainstorming of the project, map out all the possible partners. So really potential partners, higher institution, ministries, private sectors, NGOs. So as I said before, bring into the picture as many different partners as you can, and think about what each brings to your project, how to fully involve them. And this is generally in the design of the project, not once you have designed the project, because people feel the ownership if they are participating to the writing. Draft a partnership agreement early, because sometimes I see in the projects that they are not thinking about the partnership agreement, they are thinking about the writing, how they explain the project. They talk with partners, potential partners, but then they forgot to say, to establish a real partnership where you have, and even far before the submission, where you have clarity on roles, responsibilities, governance, resource, commitment. So sometimes this is done in a second stage. My recommendation would have been draft the agreement even before finding the partners. So you can already define what are the roles, and then you can adjust once you are with the partners. But I think the partnership agreement is really a key element. Develop obviously a communication plan. So how often, but not the outside communication, the inside communication. How often are you going to meet? With what support? Online or physically? How many times are you going to meet physically? We know that now we are in an online world, but meetings are always more efficient. So perhaps at the beginning, many physics and then less physics because it's less expensive and it's not green. But really do a planning of that. And how are the information flows? I think that information flows also and reporting is also very important. And then also collectively think of the risk and the mitigation measures. Sometimes I see that the coordinator is really listing the risks and the mitigation measures, asking to the other partners if they agree with that or if they have other risks. Okay. So the risks and mitigation measures can be also creative somehow, and it's a collective effort, and make sure that all partners sign off the proposal narrative. So because again, I see sometimes coordinators that are writing the narrative and keep it for them and for us because they send the application, but they sometimes I hear that they say, oh no, we didn't send the application to our partners, or we received the contract but we haven't sent the contract to the partners. So this is an obligation. If you have partners, you need them to be fully on board, truly on board and fully informed.
Yes, and as you mentioned, NEOs, or for those who don't know this acronym, NEOs mean National Erasmus Offices. So in Kosovo, we are here. The Kosovo Erasmus Plus office is a NEO. And we're obviously here to help our institutions, to promote their achievements, the results, and to help in any way with the application and with the information sessions. I wanted to say as a last question, maybe visiting this week, these numerous projects, their activities, having this cluster meeting yesterday at the ministry with all of them, even the new ones which have just signed their grant agreements. What would be your assessment of what is your sort of feeling they're leaving you with, the discussions, the visits? We visited many public, private institutions. You visited Pristina
as well. Yes, I visited Pristina, yes.
For the first time. So what are your impressions and how do you assess this? We mentioned the progress in CBHE. How would you assess the sort of the progress of our higher education? And maybe at last just give a message to our higher education.
I can start with the message. Okay. My message to Kosovo higher education institutions is first of all, go to the NEO, because I suspect that this success of Kosovo applicants are thanks to the work of the NEO. I suspect that they are doing an amazing job. This is why also there is this rise of Kosovo organization. So my first message would be go to the NEO. They are doing a good job. I found a real vitality and vibrant net of higher education institution. I'm quite impressed. They are collaborating between each other, and this is really, I think, a key of the success and also of the sustainability of each type of project. So here it's true that it's a small country, a small territory, but probably with very long-term impact because people are working together. So I see a very intertwining aspects of higher education institutions, and in many cases I see that they work together. I was a bit surprised when I saw that one institution is involved in 10 projects, another one in 5 projects, but then I realized that this is an asset somehow. This is really an added value, because it will last long the deliverables and the effects, and it will be reused in other future projects, as they are already reusing some of the developed tools. I think, yes, that you are better placed than me somehow to comment on the impact of E+ in Kosovo, but I can report really that I see that they're really very promising. I hope this progress will continue in the future. I'm sure it will anyway. I will keep an eye on the replicability of tools and what have been developed, and I really would like to and us together to identify good practices and good tools in order to be able, because we report as an agency to the European Commission, we are reporting to the European Commission on good practices, and so be able to report on good practices to be spread around Europe, not only in Kosovo. So if you develop something amazing, we would like to give that as a good example to the Commission for them to use that elsewhere, not only in Kosovo. So I think, and also perhaps the communication and collaboration between public and private, because I see that here there are public and private institutions, but I also see the private world, the NGOs, and so I'm very impressed about this type of collaboration and feeling the vibrant willingness to collaborate all together and to help the country rise.
Thank you so much, Silvana. I also think that as Kosovo, we have a lot to also export in terms of good practices, both in how we collaborate, NEOs with higher education institutions, public, private, with the ministry as well, policymakers definitely, and maybe those more non-traditional actors, NGOs, private sector, but also EU delegation, EU office here in Kosovo as well.
And I see that your institutional actors and partners are really strong and really committed. And I think that this is really something that will impact the day-to-day life in Kosovo. So this is somehow the objective of Erasmus+.
Absolutely. And I think this is why Erasmus program continues to have a transformative role in our higher education
That's what I saw then.
Yes.
Or where I can witness it.
Definitely. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure mine.
And I'll see you in Brussels.
Yes.
And we'll see our listeners in the next episode with another interesting guest and another interesting topic. Thank you very much.